Crimson Tide fans, before we get the show started, be sure to subscribe to the channel, the Alabama Football Report, your one-stop shop for everything news and rumors for the Crimson Tide all season long. We're getting close to 7K subscribers, trying to get to 10K at some point this season. Got to get to 7 first, though, right? Tell your friends about the best place to get Alabama Crimson Tide news and rumors on YouTube. Be sure to hit that big red button and maybe even hit that bell as well. Welcome into the Alabama Football Report. I am your host, RC Maxfield, and it is Florida week for the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide as they handled business against Mercer. We'll get to that in just a second in terms of what Nick Saban liked and didn't like. But first, we have to give you an injury update on a key defensive player, Will Anderson Jr., injured against Mercer early in the second half. Really not sure why he was still out there. Know a lot of people think the same way, but the injury luckily doesn't seem too severe. Nick Saban is encouraged by Anderson's progress, calling it day-to-day. He will take Monday off to make sure that his health is well headed in the right direction. But this is encouraging in the sense that you think you might possibly lose Will Anderson for a long period of time, but come to find out, we don't know if he'll be out there against number 11 Florida down in Gainesville, but it's still a possibility, right? And that is something you need, as this linebacking core already took a huge hit losing Harris earlier in the season, and now you thought maybe you were going to lose Anderson as well, but it looks like he may be back sooner rather than later, which could be huge for Alabama in the sense that he is your defensive leader on that defensive line and in the linebacking core. Really versatile, right? Can put his hand in the ground, drop back into coverage. You saw some of that against Mercer. He really is one of those guys that can impact the game in a multitude of ways, and a guy that you will need in the SEC moving forward. Hopefully he can play this weekend. Maybe if he's close to playing, they hold him back and then give him an extra week with Southern Miss after that. But right now, you have to be encouraged about Will Anderson Jr. in his health. But you tell me, will Will Anderson Jr. play this week? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm still leaning towards no because you can give him 2 more weeks, right? This Florida game, no doubt, is important. It's a top 11 matchup down in Gainesville. You want to start off SEC play on the right foot, but this game isn't as important as having Will Anderson all season long, and that's what you need from a star linebacker of his caliber. But let me know down in the comments. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm probably going no right now to give him an extra week, and I'm assuming he probably won't play against Southern Miss if that's the case. But you'd rather be safe than sorry with a player of Will Anderson Jr.'s caliber. BetUS is today's sponsor of the video. Head over to chatsports.com/TideBet and use the promo code TIDE125 for the best deposit bonus on the internet. Listen, you don't even have to Google this, right? Don't go to the Google machine. You don't need it. This is the best deposit bonus on the internet right now. What you do, you go to chatsports.com/TideBet. Use the promo code TIDE125, and let's say you put $100 into your account. They will match it and then some over on BetUS, giving you $125 to play with on the site, giving you a grand total of $225. And listen, we know you're going to, go out and bet on your Crimson Tide all season long. Let's see how they fared so far this season. They're 2-0, obviously, in the win-loss, but against the spread and over-under, just 1-1 right there. The one loss with the spread and the under coming against Mercer. Little interesting there. Haven't seen the spread quite yet against Florida. We'll keep you updated on that. But BetUS is your place to go if you want to bet on your Alabama Crimson Tide all season long. Chatsports.com/TideBet and use the promo code TIDE125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. Bryce Young with his first true road test down in Gainesville against the Florida Gators, the number 11 Florida Gators. And really, I wanted to put Bryce Young on there because this is the case for a lot of the Alabama Crimson Tide right now, in the sense that there's a lot of young players stepping up into big-time roles right now for the Crimson Tide. Now, Bryce Young has been good. He's been solid, but Nick Saban in his press conference on Monday mentioned that him, as well as the defense and special teams to some degree, has been super inconsistent, right? And you just can't have that in the first true road test for Bryce Young at number 11 Florida, right? You want these guys to limit those mistakes. You saw some of those mistakes early on the first 2 drives with the offensive line having a couple penalties, the defense, and again, I know it was depth, giving up those 2 TDs, but you still don't want to see that after holding Mercer to 0 points the first 3 matchups, right? There was some inconsistencies. You didn't want to see some of those penalties and just some uncharacteristic Alabama and Nick Saban team mistakes. I think those will get cleared up going into Gainesville. This is a huge game for the Crimson Tide in the sense that you saw the discrepancy between the number 1 team, obviously the Crimson Tide, and the number 14 Miami Hurricanes to kick off the college football season. But now you get to go into SEC play, and as we all know, the SEC is a different beast, right? Even for a team like Alabama that is always in the top 5. The Florida Gators may have a QB controversy going on right now, and you're not sure exactly who's going to start at the QB spot for the Florida Gators. But overall, they have a lot of talent there, and we all know that. A top 11 team in the country is not going to be just handled lightly by Nick Saban. Shoot, Mercer wasn't. We heard about the rat poison last week in his press conference. Nick Saban's obviously is what I'm talking about here. I think things are going to change in the sense that you're going to see all these little mistakes that Nick Saban is talking about eliminated going into this Florida game because, well, you need it, right? This is not the time for Bama fans to panic, and I've seen some of that down in the comments of these videos saying this team might not make it to, the dreams and aspirations that they have. Let's calm down. It was Mercer. You were playing 4th and 5th string guys against a team that really you were just trying not to get injured, right? That's really what it comes down to. This Alabama team is absolutely legit. Now, this is their first true SEC test of the season. Now, you did play a top 15 in Miami, but Miami barely beat App State at home last week. It looks like they kind of might be frauds in the top 25. I don't think Florida is. I think Florida is a very good SEC team, not on the caliber of Alabama. Alabama should handle business down there, but they are going to have to eliminate some of those mistakes or else some of these people in the comments might be right. This might be the time to panic in terms of getting to those goals and aspirations of another national championship under Nick Saban. But right now, do not panic. I think this offense is in a good spot. You need to clean some things up both on the offense and the defensive side. Thought the special teams played really, really well against Mercer as well as against Miami. That's probably your best consistent group right now. But overall, if you can clean up maybe 1 or 2 mistakes that you had on the offensive and defensive side of the football, no reason to panic at all going into Gainesville on Saturday afternoon. Now, it was pretty cool to see a guy that I think has a ton of potential, the Katy, Texas native, Jalen Milroe, get some action against Mercer. And we didn't talk about him in the recap, but he's probably the fastest guy on this team, right? They were talking about it on the SEC network. He's one of those guys where when he has the ball in his hands, the defense has to take notice. And now he didn't complete a pass. He did run 8 times for 26 yards. But it's cool to see the future potentially of the Alabama quarterback position and a little bit of a different nuance right back there for the Alabama offense. You really haven't seen maybe since Jalen Hurts, and I don't even want to compare Jalen Milroe to Jalen Hurts because I think Milroe is a more dimensional runner, right? He's not as good as a passer. Jalen Hurts is a better passer at this stage in their freshman careers when Jalen Hurts was on campus as to oppose Jalen Milroe now. Jalen Milroe is a guy that is absolutely dynamic. I love the RPO sets that they were running late in that game against Mercer, and really it was just fun to see Milroe get some action, right? We're talking about a guy from Katy, Texas that set all kinds of records down in the state of Texas and really picked Alabama, as he should, over the in-state UT Longhorns, who got beat by Arkansas. Are you kidding me right now? Just an embarrassment of a university. But Alabama, he obviously chose the right school, and this is the place for him to develop. It might not be here in the next year or two because of Bryce Young and him being able to play, but I am super excited about Milroe and what he could become down the line for the Alabama Crimson Tide at the QB position. But let me know real quick. I know we were just getting a little bit negative Nancy there. I get it. There's a ton of positives for Alabama in terms of what's going on this season. But what is your one-word reaction to the Tide season so far? I know what you're saying, RC, it's 2 games. What are we talking about here? We don't need to panic? Well, tell that to people down in the comments because there is a lot of people panicking about the inconsistencies on both sides of the football. I get it to some degree, but you want to work some of those things out, and that's why you schedule a Mercer there to get some depth pieces, some extra time on the field, and also work out those kinks, right? I think overall, my one-word reaction is relax. Aaron Rodgers, hopefully this isn't an Aaron Rodgers situation where it's 38-3 against the New Orleans Saints on Sunday for him in their season opener, but that would be my word. Relax, enjoy it. This is going to be a fun game on Saturday down in Gainesville when the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide take on the number 11 Florida Gators.